Welcome to the Real Estate Marketing Podcast. My name is Jerome Lewis. I'm your host for today. The Real Estate Marketing Podcast is a podcast where we talk real estate, marketing, business, and leadership. We talk these things for real estate agents, real estate investors, and real estate entrepreneurs. The Real Estate Marketing Podcast is a podcast that has two purposes. Purpose number one, to educate and inform our audience and listeners. Purpose number two, Zach, to highlight you, your business, your service, or your product in a way that provides value to you, including market exposure and content creation. With that, we have a very special guest coming back for a second time, Zachary Beach. Zachary is the CEO/partner of smartrealestatecoach.com, which is a 3-time Inc. 5000 fast-growing company that focuses on transforming W-2 employees into creative finance real estate investors. With a passion for business building, he is also a partner in Original Real Estate, Watch Street Properties, and Prosperity IO. Zachary is also known as a 3-time Amazon bestselling author of Real Estate on Your Terms, New Rules of Real Estate Investing, and Sell with Authority for Real Estate Investors. At the age of 24, Zachary decided to leave the world of bartending and personal training and jump into the family business. It was one of the first big risks that he took in his life, as nothing was guaranteed. Plus, he knew absolutely nothing about real estate. Through hard work, in-house training, and implementation, Zach, along with the Wicked Smart community, operates all over North America and has successfully completed hundreds of transactions, assisting students in doing the same at any given time with little to no money in the deal and no banks involved. He has an amazing wife, Kayla, and 2 small children, his son, Remy, and his daughter, Bellamy. Zach, I'm excited that you're here. Welcome to the show.
I'm excited to be here. I love the introduction. You look so good teaching people in that purple tie. Oh, man, you're killing it.
Thank you, Zach. I appreciate you. I'm excited about today. Welcome back for round 2. We talked in the green room. We're going to talk about some market updates, and we're going to talk a little bit about terms and the stuff that you do, the Wicked Smart community, and then also some of the collaboration stuff that we do. But before we get there, Zach, tell us, we heard a little bit of your story. Tell us a little bit in your own words how you got into real estate.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if I would trek it all the way back to when I was a young kid growing up, I like to always say I was a poor kid growing up in a rich town. So as you can imagine, that chip on my shoulder is still there. And that really has what's been driving me for a very long time. And I always noticed that, you really had 2 routes in order to find success. One was you became an entrepreneur, which I eventually ended up doing. I call it like accidental entrepreneur. And then the other route was you get in the corporate space, and I had family members that rose the ranks and became, leadership in corporate. But the reality was I don't think I was built for that, at least not at that time. I'm pretty unemployable at this time for sure. So when I went out to college, I really just did it because people told me that I couldn't. That chip on my shoulder is still there. And then so when I got out of college, I went to become a bartender and personal trainer because I had zero idea what I wanted to do. And I found myself, which most people do in that type of industry, is you find yourself burnt out. I was working late nights, and then I was working super early mornings, as you can imagine. And, the only way for me to make more money was to either take more shifts or to take on more clients. So what I really was looking for a way out. So I approached my father-in-law, Chris, who started buying real estate creatively after he got crushed in 2008. And I joined him and said, I don't know if I'm going to like real estate, but heck, I mean, it's going to be better than what I'm doing. So I kind of started from the ground up, with what everybody hates to do, which is cold calling. And that eventually led me into acquiring real estate deals and then building out a real estate business. And then now, helping grow this community of smart real estate coach for about a decade now.
Thank you, Zach, for sharing that. So it's a couple of things that jumped out to me when you were speaking, but right now I have like a group. I have a group there like cold callers. So I want to hear you talk a little bit about cold calling. After we do that, I want to talk about the market. And still, even though this is your second episode and you talked about this, I want to talk a little bit about terms, creative finance, and what it is that you do. So you mentioned you started off on cold calling. Share with us like how cold calling has helped you in your journey.
Yeah, what I discovered pretty early in real estate is that real estate really has nothing to do with the actual piece of real estate. It has to do with solving people's problems. I like to tell all of our community members that, we're in a people business. We just happen to work with real estate as the main medium, as an asset. So when you start cold calling, and although most people would say, hey, you're gregarious, you're a bartender, you know how to talk to people, sure, but it's a lot easier when you have that 2 feet of bar in between you and the person's half lit because they're on a couple drinks to have conversations with people. So when I started to get involved in making cold calls, it was an entire new skill set that I had to learn and that I had to become comfortable with. And it is, in my opinion, one of the number one skill sets in real estate is communication. And to be able to talk to anybody on the phone because you have nothing else, right? There's no other way to distract them besides your voice. By being able to create that communication process and be able to handle any objections and then really guide somebody from not expecting your call to a end result that you're hoping to get. And that end result doesn't have to be complicated. It could be, hey, you'll receive more information from an email, or hey, I'd like to visit you in person. Like, it could be that simple, but to be able to guide somebody from like you literally talking to them, and maybe they're in between their entire life, and to be able to move them to that CTA or that call to action. Well, that is a skill set that I think everybody can and should have. And really, it's the building blocks of this real estate business. Because if you can do that, then everything else is just now continuing to improve upon that communication so that we can solve that person's problem and then structure the deal that makes the most sense for them.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the market. You've been through several different market cycles. You've been paying attention. Tell us where we're headed and how we can adapt and adjust according to where you foresee we're headed, and how what it is that we do, like creative finance, can affect that market or vice versa.
Yeah, I'll hit on a couple points because obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. The billionaires don't have a crystal ball. All we can do is just look at what's currently happening and then make some projections. And I can't be more excited about the creative financing business model right now based upon what we're seeing in the current market. And that's because at the end of the day, we are seeing a huge economic, compression on people. And I say that from like the individual level, because I was giving some of these stats to our community members so that way we can continue to help them guide. But there's a couple main points, like mortgage rates right now are at the highest level since they've been since July of last year. Now, a majority of us predicted that the mortgage rates were going to go down, right? The majority of the media predicted the mortgage rates are going to go down because the Fed rate went down. So, and it's not. And now with the new Trump administration coming in, they are not predicting that interest rates are going to come down. So what does that mean? That means that we're going to still sit somewhere between 6.5% to 7% on mortgages, which means that majority of people are unable to afford those mortgages. And at the current prices of properties, which we already have a huge affordability issue, that means that the majority of Americans aren't going to be able to buy real estate. Now, how do we provide that solution? Well, maybe we'll talk about it a little bit, but we sell properties on rent to own, right? Which allows those people that can't qualify for bank loans with traditional rates right now to be able to do so. And the other couple other pieces are, it's almost 300 banks right now at the risk of failing. So again, we're just dealing with this whole economic compression right now. You have companies defaulting on debt is the highest since 2008. And then as far as credit card delinquencies, they're also the highest since 2012. So what all this is saying is that the typical American right now is unable to pay their bills or pay their bills on time. Well, how does a real estate investor provide a solution to those people? And we do it through creative financing, because there's a large portion of people that just bought their real estate within the past 3 to 5 years. And a majority of people overpaid for their real estate. And we're starting to see that because I was just listening to an interview with Ryan Serhant, if you know that gentleman. He's a huge mortgage broker, or a huge real estate broker all across the country. And he said that it's roughly 50% of all listings right now are stale, or what the market would consider stale. in that he expects, and again, this is just predictions from MSNBC, business, that people are going to lower their prices on the homes because now the comps from COVID are almost 3 years old. So now we can't go based upon that drastic increase. So what does that mean? That means that a lot of people overpaid for their houses because they bought the interest rate because it was so low during COVID. So you might be saying like, Zach, all right, well, buying and selling on terms could be a solution. Why wouldn't people just buy cash? Well, they can't because there's no equity in these properties. And people still need to move. And as you're seeing, a lot of people are in financial distress and need debt relief. That's not even including the amount of assessments that are increasing people's taxes because they're finally catching up from COVID, and now people can't afford that mortgage payment. For example, I bought a couple properties recently. They've only owned it for 18 months. Their taxes on their property have almost doubled. And we're seeing that all across the country. So as you can imagine, if your escrow payment was, say, $300 and now it's $600, and you bought a house that's $300,000, and now you have originally it was a $1,200 payment, now it's an $1,800 payment. For that price range, that's a drastic difference in someone's affordability. So there's all of these pieces that are coming together in this current market that are continuing to drive the need for creative financing, or driving the need, more importantly, for alternative strategies to help people still solve their problem. And that's what we do with creative financing.
Thank you, Zach. So I want to go a little deeper on the creative financing aspect. Creative financing, what does that mean? What is that? Help us understand.
Yeah, so the simplest way to put it is like creative financing is a alternative strategy or alternative strategies than going to a bank. So we kind of describe it in like three bullet points. No large down payments, no personally signing and guaranteeing debt, and no banks. Like that's the best way to put it as far as like those are the no-nos. But then let's talk about like what it actually means. So really we use three strategies, and I'm not going to go super deep in the strategies. I just want you to know that you're listening, that the reason why most people get slightly overwhelmed with creative financing is because it's not because they are harder to do. It's because you have more tools in your tool belt. So to be able to identify the tool to use at each given time, you just have more options. It's like cash offer is I need to boil down to 60 cents on the dollar, and that's the offer I can make. Creative financing really allows you to understand the person's challenge, right? That could be anything from debt relief to maximizing their profit for the seller. And then be able to identify the finances attached to the property, mortgage, no mortgage, right? Payments, taxes, all of that. And then be able to say, okay, well, in order to get you to where you want to be and based upon the finances on the property, here's some potential solutions. Now, let me try to guide you through that process. So let me show you what this means. We have a strategy called a lease purchase or a lease option. All that really means is that you control the asset without ownership. You're just taking over the property with all the expenses on the property and then agreeing in the future to cash out the seller. 2, subject to deals. I know that this is probably the most prevalent thing that people are talking about when it comes to creative financing, and most people are afraid of. I'm telling you, it is one of the best strategies to use. You just have to understand that the only thing that's happening is instead of going to a bank when you buy the house, you just keep the current debt that's on the property that's attached to the seller's credit. You're just now making the payment on the seller's behalf. And then the third strategy, which could and should be the most prevalent strategy as these years continue to go on, are seller financing. Because we see a lot of seller financing, not just in the single family houses, but we see seller financing a lot in the multifamily and commercial. And why is that the case? Because the bank requirements for buying those are not advantageous in today's markets based upon the rates to actually make money off of them. So if you want to go buy a multifamily right now, and you know that you have to put down anywhere from 25 to 35% down, and you're still only getting a 7 or 8% interest rate, the majority of these properties do not cash flow. So what's the alternative? The alternative is the sellers take back the power and they say, hey, instead of you going to get a bank If we can agree upon some specific terms like what's the purchase price, how much money down, what the interest rate may be, or the time frame, we can now structure a deal where me as the seller, I'm getting tax benefits. I will be your bank. And now you as the investor can now utilize my financing to buy this piece of real estate. So that's why these things, and the more and more as we continue to see the economy evolve, with all those factors that we talked about earlier, the more there is need to have alternative options other than just your traditional going to get a bank loan.
Excellent. Thank you, Zach. So I got two things I want to hear from you. Number one, I would love to, I want to play a seller.
Okay.
I'll be an easy seller. You tell me, you can lay out the scenario, the situation. I'll be the seller. And then number two, because we're going to make it easy and make it simple for people.
Sure.
But I want people to understand how they can learn more about what it is that you do. I know you guys got some podcasts, some books, and all kinds of resources that you can share. And by the time this episode's come out, you'll have a boot camp in March that you'll be running as well. So what's your thoughts on number one, like the role play scenario? How do you want to do that? Or do you want to do it at all?
Sure. I'm happy to do it. Well, you put me on the spot. I don't have a choice at this point.
So I'm going to make it easy. Just tell me what my situation is. I'll play that role as a seller. I'm in debt, whatever it is.
Yeah,
and
do something simple like expired listings. So they're on the market at one point in time. We have roughly 80% of the deals we do come from expired listings.
Sure thing.
And then let's keep it simple in regards to maybe you have two houses, you're relocating, you can't afford both mortgage payments.
Okay, sure thing. That works. All right.
Cool. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, is this Jerome?
Yeah, this is Jerome. Who's calling?
Hey, Jerome. My name's Zach Beach. I was calling because I saw that you had a property on 123 Jump Street for sale at one point in time, and I'm interested in buying another property in the area. Do you have a couple minutes to chat?
Yeah, I can talk, man. I tried to sell that property before. I don't know. These agents can't get it sold, so depends.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're seeing that a lot right now. People like yourself trying to sell their properties with agents, and some of them just can't get it done, because obviously the market, the economy, there's a lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if I ask you, Jerome, a couple of questions to determine whether or not this is a good fit for me to buy?
Yes, I really don't really have a choice. I want to get it sold, so tell me what you got.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd be first and foremost, great property. Any particular reason why you're looking to sell right now?
Yeah, this is a second property. I got two mortgages. I do not want to keep paying these two mortgages.
Oh, got it. And have you already relocated to the other property?
No, I'm like all packed though. For the most part, we got everything in storage. So I'm just trying to get out there. I just need to get this property sold.
Got it. How fast would you like to get out to that other property?
Oh man, well, I had it on the market like 3 months ago. So as soon as possible, honestly, I just need it sold.
Got it. Okay. Well, we might be able to be a solution for you for sure. All right. So you mentioned that you have a mortgage on the property. Do you know the rough balance of the mortgage?
Yeah, we bought it like so we only been paying it on it for about a year. So I would say the balance is maybe $450.
Okay, $450. And then roughly what's the monthly payment?
About $2,000.
Does that include taxes and insurance?
No, but I can get you that information a little bit later.
Okay, got it. All right. And roughly how much are we looking for a purchase price?
Whatever it's worth. I think it's worth $500,000. So I'm willing to sell it for that much, maybe a little less.
And then if you were to have sold it with an agent, how much did you expect to put in your pocket?
At this rate, I don't think we were going to get anything. I just wanted it sold. I'm like trying to get out of it. So I don't really care. Got
it. Okay. Yeah. So we have a couple different options that may work for you. And what I'll do is I'll outline them in an email. But really at the end of the day, the simplest way to get this thing done is what we do is we just agree upon a price. We would close on it. We would then continue to make your current mortgage payments. That way you don't have to make that payment anymore. We'll take that off your chest. And then on and before a certain time in the future, we'll go ahead and cash out that mortgage. And if there's any equity after we review the property, then we'll pay you out at that time as well.
Okay. All right. That kind of makes sense. I'm open to that.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. A lot of sellers that are in your position, especially if they want to move quickly and they really just need that mortgage payment paid. It's a great structure for you. But what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get you an email with that. Now, there's a couple other options as well. That way we can figure out best works for you. And then if it makes sense at that point in time, we'll need a little bit of more information, and then we'll schedule a time to go view the property so that way we can get you to the other house. Does that sound fair?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Nobody ever offered me this before, so let's see what you got.
Awesome. So I'll go ahead and send you an email, and assuming that I send it out today, can we chat again tomorrow? Would you have a chance to view it tonight?
Yes, I would love that.
Awesome. All right, Jerome, I will send that out, and we'll chat again tomorrow.
Okay, sure thing. All right.
Without going into too much detail, so we didn't make it like a super long call, that's basic concept. You just want to understand motivation. That's what we covered. And we want to understand the financials. And then a couple other things in which we typically go through are a proper introduction, which is just clarifying that we're talking to the right person. We're asking permission to ask them questions, which is important. And then just making sure that we roll into that next scenario. So they want to know who we are. I want to know who they are, and I want to get permission so I can have that conversation.
Thank you for sharing that. So we talked on Friday. You have assets. You have a ton of stuff available. You mentioned like people can hear some of these calls live. So I want you to go through and share some of the assets and ways people can learn more about the concepts and even listen to like some live calls. So.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, we have an entire academy, but let's assume this is the first time that you've communicated with us or you've heard us speak. A great place to start is grabbing our Amazon bestselling book, which I'm going to give you, and it's attached to Jerome here. You just go to wickedsmartbooks.com/Jerome Lewis, wickedsmartbooks.com/Jerome Lewis. We'll ship you out an Amazon bestselling book. And then you'll also be now in communication with us so we can share with you a couple of the different methods in which we work with people, but also more importantly, you identify how we buy and sell real estate deals on creative financing as well. So that'd be a great place for you guys to start. And then we can continue to communicate with you if you want to, if this is a great model for you to move forward on.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. And then you just got so many assets. What are some other, I know you got podcasts, YouTube channel. Where else? Somebody's like, oh, the book is on the way, but I want to learn more right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Great places to find us. We have our Smart Real Estate Coach podcast. Me and my business partner, Chris, have been running that. I think we're going on our 500th episode now. YouTube would be a big place to go. If you go to smartrealestatecoach.com/YouTube, we have over 400 deal structure Sundays on there. And that's literally where we interview one of our community members on the deals in which we help them do. And we outline everything from communication to why the person sold to the actual structure of the deal to the exit. So that's a great place for you to start to pull those concepts together as well. And if you end up diving in further, then we have courses that you can go through. We can really dive in and include our agreements all the way to working with us and doing real estate deals with us over the course of 18 to 36 months.
Excellent. And one more thing, Zach, recently you do deals all of the time. Actually, the Wicked Smart sit down. So I would love for you to talk about that. And thinking of that, I attended frequently. I want you to share like one of your most memorable or more recent deals that you've done on that Wicked Smart sit down or situation case study.
Yeah, good question. So the Wicked Smart sit downs are every single Thursday. It's free. We've been running it for about 4 years now. So every single Thursday, it's either us. We either go through deals, Q&A, or we bring on a potential vendor or partner of ours in order to help put more tools in people's tool belts. I'd say one of my favorite, most recent deals, and it's not that they were the most profitable, but this woman, Jessica, she's a part of our community. She had zero real estate experience before she met us. Actually, when she met us, she was pregnant and about to have the baby. She had a small baby. And she went through a whole bunch of struggles for about 14 months. And she contacted this seller. It was at like month 6. And she didn't end up getting that deal until month 14. But here's the important part, because our goal here is to really help people to transform dedicated people into Wicked Smart real estate investors. And really our purpose is to empower individuals and families to create the life of their dreams. Now, what happened between that 6 months and that 14 months in order for her to get her first deal was she dealt with a whole bunch of ups and downs in regards to mindset. She was a brand new mom. She had a baby. She was trying to make that work along with her full-time job. And at one point in time, she called my business partner and was like, hey, I'm ready to give up. And he called all of us, all the coaches. We all rallied. We all started calling. We all started to support her. And then we started looking at her strategies and what she's doing and fine-tune them in order to fit her current lifestyle. As soon as she made that decision to commit again, recommit herself, she ended up getting 2 deals within the next 30 days. Now, when she received that first check in hand from that deal, I was just extremely proud because she could have given up. It was like that book, 3 feet from gold. Like, she was right there, and she just needed that extra support in order to push her forward. But more importantly, she doubled down on herself and made it happen. And now she's got a whole bunch of deals within the last 6 months. It was an amazing story for sure.
Thank you for sharing that, Zach. I'm going to get you out of here. For our audience, where can we find out more? You already mentioned it, but where can we find out more about you, your products, services, anything you got going on?
Yeah, for sure. SmartRealEstateCoach.com is an amazing place. If you're not grabbing our book right away, which I encourage you to do so, we'll ship it out to you for free. And then you can find us on all of the social media platforms, including Instagram at SmartRealEstateCoach as well.
All right, Zach, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Jerome.
Absolutely.